Okay, so basically 3 more days of this insanity with that update of sending me emails. Right. I don't think she did it, but God made sure we knew before we left Wampatuck. Right, because we would have switched to that campground that's right next to the place. It's right in Orleans. Right, we would have just went right from the campground to our apartment. So these things are going to make sure that nothing good ever happens. Right. So it's really up to Social Security and the administrative law judges to put a stop to this. Okay. It seems like apparently, I don't know if there's all kinds of difficulties with this year-round camping. Okay. Um, I think that can probably be solved by taking away amenities that we don't care about. That can probably solve that. Just, it's out of control. It really is. And you're decimating federal forests. You're decimating protected lands by what you're doing. Uh, we don't care what you think you're entitled to. Say that you're disabled. Just camp somewhere else. Like, just camp somewhere else. Like, there's plenty of places to camp. Not people put a parking lot in a state park for you to drive in and park something. That's got to be what that is. It's just so insane. I can't even explain it. So, anyways, right, if you take away amenities, um, then they don't, these people that are like camping on the weekend, camping on the holiday, whatever it is they're doing, they won't be doing it. I haven't done it yet. I have to look up the climate. Say it's in Arizona. Okay. Right. It just depends. I mean, obviously, a bathroom would be nice with hot water, and you have one of these like things, or we can, if we're there, if we're living there, then you would boil water. I'm thinking there's no forest in Arizona, right? Okay. Many of us here have survived sleeping outside the winter without even a tent. And like I said, a tent provides you insulation. So it just depends on how bad the weather and stuff is. If they wanted to give us wooden cabins, I'm sure we'd live there. Remember that lean-to at Harold Parker? That's not a bookable site. Do you think that I'm supposed to live there, or someone donated it? Okay, for what? Is that so that the children can come and learn about nature? Okay. I'm learning about your species where you really don't have to care about other people, but yet you keep saying that you care about other people. It's like so weird. I don't have to pretend I care about other people. That's not part of me. Yeah, like a lone wolf. So I don't have to pretend to care about other people. I either care about people or I don't. I explained it. I met someone who's permanently in a wheelchair and she was in a tent. They didn't have a trailer and a driveway and all that. What is nonsense with the 55 people? I guess you got to cling on to something because you all feel that you're old now and you're over the hill. So you like that chicken fried green tomatoes, and it's really annoying, pathetic. So, what's the plan when I'm actually 55? Since that's that quickly approaching. Like, what's the plan? 65 then? 75? Oh yeah, what am I supposed to be looking up? Um, what was I supposed to be? Oh, the climate in Arizona. Okay, let's see. It's probably varied, right? Yeah, like I said, there's a place in Massachusetts, but you can't do it. You can't do it, but for like a weekend. They only do it for weekends, and it's expensive. And then the Thanksgiving weekend is $75 a night, and people have already booked that. You go, how is that actually happening? Are they vacationing here and then they're going to stay in a cabin on Thanksgiving because it's Massachusetts? I guess I don't understand why people feel like they can't put a stop to things that are outrageous. Yeah, just some people are caught up in some kind of nonsense about paying for things when you are printing money like there's literally no tomorrow. And are we going to have inflation and stuff? It's 99 degrees right now. Okay. Well, I'm thinking it's not cold in the wintertime. Okay. 103, 102, 105, 106. Okay. Let's see. Arizona weather. Let's see. A fall and winter. Yeah, it varies dramatically. Okay. Okay. Whoa. So in southern Arizona, where Phoenix and Tucson are, um, it's a cooling off period with temperatures dropping from the intense summer highs. September average highs are around 100, lows in the mid 70s. Whoa. I'm sure they hate homeless people too, just like Florida. Okay, let's see. Okay, 40s and occasionally into the 20s, which is not 9 degrees. Okay. Ooh, all day rain showers. Okay. Well, it sounds like vacationers wouldn't shouldn't want to do this. Even lows in the 30s is doable. Okay. This is Central Arizona, Sedona, and Jerome. That's one of the ones I was looking at in Jerome. Okay, that's why they have winter camping because that seems doable. Even in a tent, lows in the 30s. Like I said, I was in a plastic bag in 9 degrees. So yeah, just I didn't have a sleeping bag. A sleeping bag would make all the world of difference too, especially with a plastic bag because you can zip everything. Blankets you can't. You got to tuck them in, and then the second one of them tucks out, you get cold. But as long as you stay wrapped up like a mummy like that, that's how I did it. Because I would have lost toes and fingers. It was brutally cold. Yes, the second I got up and started walking to the Star Market to go to the bathroom, I thought my fingers were going to fall off with two pairs of gloves. So I was sleeping outside in that. That was 2022 after forcing me out of the house in Devon. So it doesn't matter. I'm not pinpointing that woman in that group of people, but I would assume that's part of the reason they're so insane. So I was in touch with the Quincy police at least 3 times a week during that time about how there was empty businesses and none of them would open the door so I could sleep inside of it at night. Okay, so if he can see it, God can see it. You're not putting that back in the box for sure. You're displacing people that have nowhere to go during a time when half of the country wasn't paying for anything. In case you forgot that bit, okay. Like Quincy had a free bus. COVID money was being put out. You had a halt on being evicted for non-payment of rent, and you had a halt on utility shut-offs for non-payment, and that's what you were doing to me. So people that weren't aware that was going on, now you're aware of it. So your president is seeking the death penalty. It goes on and on, believe me. It's just I don't remember every single thing at every second of my life. So that just came up. Okay. That's why I said making up things that people can't survive out there because it's winter. You didn't care about that in 2022. So empty houses, empty hotel rooms, empty campsites, empty trailers, empty pop-up tents. Okay, not we need to pay 600 a month to live in a room in your house and share a kitchen and a bathroom. That to me sounds like people that are acquiring real estate and are trying to pay the mortgage doing that. And they're clearly preying upon the poor. Tom Kent talked about doing it briefly, and I was in the house at the time, so that didn't happen. And then he realized he was too territorial and she was too territorial, and they couldn't stand having a person there. They half the time were bothered by me being there. At least she was. A whole third floor, a basic apartment not used, another bedroom not used. They had issues sometimes when I was down in the basement. And so there's no way they could rent a room. So just imagine people like that renting a room in a house and living like that. That's why I recommend not doing it because it's bizarre. There's not a need for that. I owned a house, you just pay your mortgage. Um, some people that were doing real estate like that, you rent the whole house, you don't rent a room. So if you're in a house you can't afford, then maybe you should sell it instead of renting rooms. All right, so let's see. I don't know. This is not really relevant like right now because clearly I'd have to get to Arizona. I guess that probably wouldn't happen unless I got Social Security because they'll shut off our money because it's Massachusetts. You could get away with doing it for about a month. So you'd have to pick like what you think is the coldest month there, and then come back again at least for a couple of weeks, and then maybe go back again. If you had nothing else, no other way to live. The problem is, I think the campsites are kind of expensive. They do it on purpose so that we can't live there. Yes, they do. They know all the incomes. They know what you get for Social Security. They know what DTA cash is. They know what a voucher is. Okay, so they go out of their way to stop quote unquote those people from. They're just insane. There's no understanding of it. Immigrants, illegals, drug addicts, homeless people. None of those words really mean anything. But it's just like you're another clan group of a monkey. And that's what their brain matter is making up for thinking thoughts that insane. They're going to stop us from something. We're going to work and not walk. I don't know if it's actually effective when you explain to them what's going on with their brain. It doesn't mean you have to stop driving. It's just you're not allowed to think to stop burning fuel because you're a self-terminating species. Okay, that's why you think work and not walk. You'll never think that. Working, I guess, will somehow stop pollution, but walking doesn't. This is one of the ways you'd know too, is if you picked up a walking program like I explained to you, and then you walk 9 miles a day, at least 5 or 6 days a week. And you do that for at least a decade, okay? And then you'll sort of know. And I can explain it to you. You're not tired. You don't have the brain capacity to do it. Like with the greatest of all due respects, you all have dementia. It's because of your brain. You don't get tired from walking 9 miles a day. Nope. It's not hit. It's not, you're not running a marathon. You're not running 26 miles. You don't get tired from walking 9 miles a day. You just don't. So um, you got to try to remember how people lived before and try to figure out why you're so tired all the time and don't feel like doing things. It's because of your brain disease. Right? You got to think like why certain primates don't walk and other ones do. Why a baby is a certain age when they start walking. It has to do with brain growth. So, I mean, people were, when were cars invented? So before cars, what were they doing? Walking to work, okay, or running a farm, right? So just imagine all the work involved in that, like making bread. Um, most of you don't even cook foods, even the level that I'm doing. Like, and you know that probably your parents used to cook, right? And you just don't have the time to do it. Okay. They were walking with a lawnmower. Okay. They were working 5 days a week, but then on the weekends, they're walking with the lawnmower. They're doing yard work. They're sewing. They're mopping floors. Maybe they knit. They're baking bread. They're baking cookies. They're doing crafts. Okay. They're going down the street to the square dance or whatever at nighttime. They have gardens. They're maintaining their property, like painting that white fence every once in a while. They're doing laundry, even laundry machines. They had to wash dishes by hand. Okay, like how long does it take to prepare a meal? They're peeling potatoes, they're slicing potatoes, they're baking scallop potatoes, they're making a roast, they're making a turkey, they're making a whole chicken, they're mashing potatoes, whatever you're doing with it. Okay. So they're cutting vegetables, they're making salads. They're not getting salad in the bag, they're chopping the stuff. So they used to have wax floors too, right? Didn't they have to wax? And that was a big thing when they came up with the no wax floors. Um, just even a day in the life of a homemaker, how much it's changed. when you had the wood floors and you had to dust them all and you had to mop your kitchen floor and you had to do dishes and make bread, go grocery shopping, launder the children's clothing, sometimes sew. Some people used to sew clothing. So I just see sort of like from television and stuff how some people live. Okay. So sometimes people are heavy like that because they have a reduced capacity. Yeah, like it's just um, people that have a intellectual challenge need to be encouraged to do things. Like this is fun and stuff like that. That's why they have Special Olympics and all that. Okay, because they'd probably just lay around doing nothing too. All right, so let's see, Jerome. See what they're going to charge me and tell me nothing's available already. Because I already did this morning, and I just again thought it was funny. They just started booking this stuff at 10 a.m. this morning. Why is everyone going there? Are they going there from New Mexico? What's the one in Jerome? Jerome State Historic Park, RV and campground. Okay, here's the 10 best campgrounds. I know they keep saying RVs, RVs, RVs. You people, forcing you to do it because you're a self-terminating species and there's no safe zone. Not yeah, you just I can imagine just the sadistic thoughts in the head that are getting you guys to do this stuff. Our magic, our journey. Okay, plan the RV trip of your dreams because that's everyone's dream, right? To take an RV trip. Now, these RV campgrounds, do you rent those or the people have to have them? Okay, this one's starting at $20. Okay, $65, $55. Is that with the RV? Point of Rocks RV campground. Most of them are just for RVs, it seems like. This one looks cute. It's in Flagstaff, though. Let's see. Starts at 31. It's called Fort Tuthill. It looks like it has trees. It looks okay. Let's see. Can you have a fire there, or are you in some sort of drastic? Are you having a lot of wildfires out there? Okay. They host sometimes weekend stuff. They're telling you because they know that what people don't like. You should be aware that the park hosts events on weekends and occasional weekdays, which may lead to increased activity and noise levels. Bathrooms, dump station, garbage. Do they have water? Water and sewer. I don't need that. Water and sewer RV site. No hookup RV site. Primitive tent site. Why is a primitive tent site the same cost as a water and sewer? That's a little bit not fair, right? If there's, yeah, I don't need a water hookup, just a place to get water. All right, let's see what this primitive. Okay. It says ring fire. Is that one of those? Is that a ring fire? Do they have to do it like that because of fire risk? Okay, it's got a picnic table. They don't look very private, but it's a place to live in the wintertime. Meaning, like, I wouldn't stay there. Like, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look very private, but it would be a place where you're legally allowed to live for the winter. Um, are you open in the wintertime? Is this one of the ones that's open in the wintertime? Office. That looks like a water. Is that like for everybody? It looks like a water. Are those dumping stations? Is that what that is? Sometimes it's nice to be near the water spout, yeah. None of them are really near the bath. Oh, that's not the bathroom, that's electric. Where's the bathroom? You don't have the bathroom listed on here. I see electric, and then I'm assuming that's a dump station. This one looks kind of private, but it's away from clearly. Watch, there's probably like a road over there behind you. How about this one? Primitive tent site, BO8. This will be the first one someone books because just people are wacko. Okay, so let's see. Check in. Here comes some people. Those kayak things. Everyone's with the kayaks. It's just. Um, all right, you're not open in the winter. Okay, so that was pointless. I just checked the calendar. Yeah, they're not open in the winter. Um, are the winter ones more money? This one's $30 a night. Let me see what this one is. It might start raining tonight and a little bit tomorrow, and it's supposed to be cold again. This looks like Thunder Mountain. This is kind of cool. Is it filled with RVs? Yeah, you know how much Brian and I love that. It says open all year. Okay, bathrooms, bike rent. Oh, he loves bicycles. Canoeing, kayaking, laundry, showers, full service campground. 5 miles from historic downtown. Is there a grocery store there? Daily tandem RV sites. Wow, this is expensive. Seasonal monthly site. Okay, that's for an RV. Are they all RVs? Reservation full hookups, smaller RVs. It looks like they don't even have tent sites. If you add one of those teardrop ones, this is considered a value campsite. Reservations must be made before arrival. They're back in only, with full hookups, making them an affordable choice for smaller RVs and vans. 10-minute walk from, okay, that's starting at $30 a night. Is that a different campground or the same one? Standard RVs is $51 a night. Monthly RV site. Why is that more money? I can't believe that people are paying for these RVs and you're still paying $100 a night. You can't like nature and camping. There's no possible way. I would think hotels are really cheap out there too. You just go, really? Just live in a hotel at that much money. Let me see what's up with this. I pay 17 a night to camp. Right, it's a non-electric site. The people in the electric sites pay $27 a night, and I think they've actually started turning more and more of these campgrounds into electric, and you just go, what the hell is going on? There's a plug in the bathroom. They don't have laptops. Are they running air conditionings? Like, what are they doing in those things that they need to hook up water and electricity to it? There's a bathroom right there. It's got a wash station, a shower, sinks, a toilet, electrical outlets. I'm not understanding. You have a fire pit to cook, even if you used a Coleman stove. What are you people doing? Something wrong with you. Someone has to tell you this. That is not camping. The only way I could even see a person living like that is if they're homeless and they think that's cheaper than living in hotels. It just, you got rooked into something. Clearly, you got rooked into buying one of these RVs, and now you feel you have to use it. Yeah, just, are you retirees? That's when you go to a hotel, it has a swimming pool, you put the sunglasses on, and then when you want to take a hike, you go on a tour and you slap on the cowboy boots and the hat and stuff. What are you thinking with this? That is not camping. It's definitely that. You must be paying out the wazoo for that thing. Because I know Tom Kent owed 10,000 on just a used regular trailer that you hook up to a truck. That's what you wanted for your retirement. Have they looked at hotels in the wintertime? Because you can get a hotel in downtown Boston for $100 a night. That is certainly not a trailer. 20 amp, 30 amp, back in electricity, picnic table, shower, sewer hookup, water hookup. I mean, that is insane. Let's see what your check in and check out dates are. Okay, you're open in the winter. Oh, you close in January. Okay, so let's see. Say you wanted to just go the 8th of November to December 31st. Well, no, you can't do that. You'd have to check out the day after Christmas. How's that? There's a 28 night maximum. Okay, so again, that's crazy. Why is that? Is that in fairness? All right, so what's 28 days? Say November 22nd. See if that works. Is that more than 28 days? The 22nd, yeah, that's what, 30 days? Um, okay, so the 24th to the 25th is less than 28 days. Let's see. It doesn't say even a tent. They're not even expecting people with that, so they're probably all paved. I'm learning something about you guys, and I feel bad for you. What is that teardrop thing considered? Is that a travel trailer? Okay. I don't know what their length is generally. What do you think? Like 24 feet or something? I don't even think it's that long. It doesn't have slide outs. Okay. This is like sounds like Tommy's trailer, but his is like there are no sites available for your selected RV. All right, so maybe it's not 24 feet. Maybe it's 20 feet. We'll try that. There's no slide outs. I didn't hit. Okay. It's probably because of the slide outs. It's because the sites are that close together. That's why. Because the sites are that close together. All right, so we'll pick this one. 20-foot max. Okay, I doubt a teardrop is 20 feet then. Okay, so what's this going to come to? 39, 30 foot. For the whole thing? What did you put in? Oh, because you made it one night. I didn't tell you that. Um, I've got to be back in New York on December 30th. I'm going to be back in Boston on December 30th. One, two, three. It takes 3 days on a train. Okay, so we'll go. I was hoping to do Christmas and Thanksgiving, and clearly you can't. Okay, how about November 27th to December 26th? That's still too long. Okay. I didn't say Friday, November 28th. Okay. I'm trying to leave the day after Christmas. So what do I have to put in here? 2 days back from that, 26. Wouldn't that be the 29th? Oh no, I've got to leave like what? I've got to show up. I know now you've got me all confused. 26 days and then 2 more days. Okay, so I can arrive on November 29th and leave on Friday. There you go. Okay, so what's this going to be? 868. So $869 for 28 days. It's $500 for 4 weeks. Okay. So you guys are paying over $300 more for a couple less days because 4 weeks is not, is that 28 days? 4 times 7, 28. Okay. So you're paying 300 and something dollars more because you got rooked into buying an RV. That's exactly what has taken place. Because these people built these parks, I'm sure, after someone started selling you those things. Okay, I'm just letting you know, right? Because a state park, uh, they can rent non-electric sites. I saw someone in the site next to us who had a trailer. They just don't have electric hookup and they don't have water hookup. But at Harold Parker, pretty much almost every site has water right at the street. The spout thing, why does it have to be hooked up to it? That's what I'm saying. Like you got completely rooted into something where you don't even like camping. It's very sad. That is, Tommy had that thing hooked up to my mother's house and never used it. And then he died and never used the thing at all. And now a person he was like had a lot of problems with is now living in it. And his sister that he tried to keep off the street lives on the street now. That's what people do. I already explained it. He's been collecting Social Security for at least a year. It's got to be maybe a year and a half. Yep. Why did he need that trailer? I'm sure that my mother just, I'm sure half of the stuff that she talks, it's just disregarded because she has dementia. You folks aren't doing something wickedly fucked up. It's just she's got dementia and complains about everything. Okay. My therapist would probably try to have me sectioned to a hospital if she found out that I was living there. Yes. So just to go over it again, I lived in a house in Dedham with my genetic mother, my genetic brother, my genetic sister, and her boyfriend, her life partner. Okay. From 2011 until he died in April of 2024. Neither one of those people ever at any given time lived in the house in Dedham or lived in the house in High Park. Okay. Never at any given time were they living with us. When she would come over to visit at the place in Hyde Park, he would hide from her up in his bedroom. I don't know what her son was doing for a very long time because for some inexplicable reason he visited right before my brother died. And we had not he had no one comes to that house to visit. I was there for 2 years, the house in Hyde Park. No one ever came to visit except for her other daughter, the one I'm speaking about. None of her children came there to visit. Her other daughter that she had lived with before never came there to visit. Her daughter in, what is it, South Carolina, never came to visit. None of her grandchildren ever came to visit in 2 years. It was appropriate for her to go into her daughter's care because her daughter was an LPN and she gets along with her, and that's who she wanted to care for her after her other daughter moved out. She wanted the other one to care for her. Okay, the question I guess was not that I ever want an answer. How did you end up with Tommy's truck and Tommy's trailer? How did that happen? She gets money from the VA to care for my mother, and she should be getting Social Security because she left work to care for her. I mean, I didn't ask her if she did, but she should be, okay? And he gets Social Security. And it's like a what? One, two, three bedroom house, and then the basement is a complete apartment. And he lives in my brother's trailer next to her house. And I'm street homeless. I asked her if we could pitch a tent in her backyard. Answer no. So it is what it is. I think my money was briefly off when Tommy died, and then I had it turned back on when I went back out to Quincy. Okay, so at $400 a month, if you had a trailer, would I have been able to put that somewhere and live in it and not be on the street now into the third year of this? Also, my question was this: if it was paid off, because I saw the paperwork myself, I went through his papers after he died. I never looked at that stuff before he died, never went in his room, never opened the medicine cabinet, never looked at that shelf outside his room, any of it until after he died. Um, he owed $10,000 on the trailer. How is it sitting in your next to your house in your driveway, or not your driveway, but how is it sitting there? Like, did you pay it, or you just snuck it there and you put it there? And she has a pop-up camper. So when you took the trailer for your son to live in, because this the day it was like the day Tommy died, he came over and she said, "Do you mind if I give him the trailer?" Why didn't you offer to give me the pop-up trailer? It doesn't matter how or what I would do with it. Why wasn't I given Tommy's truck? She said she paid it off because it's Tommy's and it just sits in her driveway. Why didn't you give it to me? Why didn't you pay it off and give it to me? Brian and I could live in it. I don't know. Why does a woman twice a week hand me clothes and food that doesn't know me but from that? Why does she do that? Why does another woman hand me clothes once a week? Why does a church make me a full on dinner and give me clothes once a week? Why do they do that? Anywho, she owns a house. I have no idea. She said something about if she put my mother in a nursing home, she couldn't pay her mortgage. She'd have to go back to work. So, see how that works? Why didn't I go to the court and ask to take custody of her and take her $3,600 so I could pay rent and live with her? Why didn't I do that? That's the difference between you and me. Because I knew I didn't want to take care of her. It's not worth having an apartment. She wouldn't even care if my husband lived there. There's someone right across the street from the park that has a trailer and a pop-up camper, by the way. And Brian and I go, and you live right across the street from a state park, from a campground. Well, I would assume that the trailer is an upgrade from the pop-up tent, and maybe they'll go to Arizona for Thanksgiving or that state park and occupy a cabin there or something. I don't know. I said if you're gonna take my house, at least give it to a disabled veteran because it seems like it's wheelchair accessible. Yep. They immediately stopped whatever they were doing and followed him. If you will not renounce all that you have and give to the poor, then you cannot be my student. All the firstborn sons, not your lesson with some of the other ones. That's why I like questions. So now the woman that I know whose videos she watches is talking about, is it aliens coming on a nuclear spaceship? So what do we think about that? Is that edging closer to accepting reality? Well, because she asked why about 15 times, so it's difficult. It's better if someone more objective explains it. Okay, because it's not really a judgment. Your entire species is in a mass extinction. Okay, so they're all going to get cancer and die. They're all going to get cancer and die. So some of them are real quick and you don't have to suffer. It's a compassionate sort of euthanasia. Like all the dinosaurs went extinct. So God has a way of doing it. So some of the people with the you're losing your mind stuff, just it's better to kind of like not really be aware of things sometimes. As long as you're not like in some other person's care that's abusive, then that's sort of a nightmare. But some things God will help you keep doing when other things are going. Yeah, there's no trailers. This is part of WIT, right? There's absolutely no automobiles. I don't even like bicycles. There's absolutely no automobiles, whether they're solar powered or electric. Okay, that's part of brain reduction that you would even link that rather than just people walk or ride a horse. Like that doesn't even ride a horse. That's everybody walks. Yep. Like we would either have like very minimal gear or everywhere we went to, we would be able to build a structure to sleep in. Okay, because your species has completely altered the land piece. Not we can't do it. Okay, your species has completely altered the land piece. So we do have to use grocery stores right now. You can't just sort of like tell us to go somewhere and walk 5 hours and see how we can't do it and stuff. You're allowed to drive, so you've got to stop doing that. You're allowed to drive, you got to stop doing that. We wouldn't need a grocery store. Okay, the stock of food has to be rebuilt. We can't go and hunt food. And as you can see, we're not allowed on any land to be doing that. Okay, so You can't just plop us somewhere and then go, okay, well, you said you were going to do this. Like typically it's in a city where you do it, which is even more deranged. So when you started going, how is that going to work? And because you guys aren't going to be here and you're insisting upon having a system, you're insistent upon having a system, not somebody else is doing it. I just looked at a thing and I'm disgusted by stuff that people would think is a way that we're going to do this. That's not a way we're going to do it. We're not all going to buy trailers and then we're going to have sewer hookups and water hookups and electric hookups. We're not doing that. That wouldn't solve any problem at all. But I asked about the FEMA trailers in a different live stream in Hurricane Katrina about things that you say that can't happen, that for some inexplicable reason happened 20 years ago. So you've gotten way sicker than you were then. How did you end up putting all those trailers on Sanibel Island as I'm laying on the ground in Massachusetts? Like, what were you thinking? Like, wasn't 2 5 star fully available at that point? Okay, so there's some weirdness going on there too. You're really still not getting it. The bird's nest isn't gonna fall out of the sky for you. It's just not. I don't even think that would have any meaning to you, honestly. Like you'd have to take 9 hour, 9 mile walks to appreciate a cloud covering up the sun and the blazing sun at the hottest part of your walk. Like that doesn't have meaning to you either. I'm sure the fishing rod I need at Alpaca State Forest has some meaning to you. Um, just that whole entire week was like epically awesome to me. The pole breaks, the thing looks like a TP. I'm prepared for like anything at that point, honestly. Just, oh no, here we go. So, anyways, just the exact right stick, acorns, um, not bobbers, even though I did find bobbers too. I found that mine was in a tree. The spiral notebook with the metal spiral, right, and then I made a hook out of it. That's epically amazing to me. Not what city lights. I don't know where that's coming from. Not I won the lottery. Oh, I gotta plug the thing in again. What time is it? Okay, it's 5. I gotta wake him up in a little bit, or he's gonna get angry at me. I guess 5:30. I'll wake him up at 5:30. I think he woke me up at 6 yesterday, and I had only been asleep for like maybe 40 minutes, so I was a little bit snippy. I think the reason I was snippy is he wouldn't admit he woke me up on purpose because it was dinner time. Right. I think that's why. just go, are you going to get up and cook? I don't mean to be a jerk, but I didn't know if you wanted to keep sleeping. I know a day goes by, they're going by faster and faster as the time gets closer. There's no way homeless people are living there at that amount of money. Yeah, because even if you collect Social Security, oh yeah, what was that one that's in Massachusetts? That one, maybe, um, if it was like a couple of people living together, because when you're not married, they don't do that thing with the Social Security where they put a cap on it, which should be considered insane, by the way. It's promoting like really not good things. But primates don't marry, so it could be in the brain matter that they envy you because you're married and they're not, but that's just their brain making up what they're doing. Primates don't marry, so that's why they're doing it. In wit, yes, in wit, that's why they're doing it. You would get married if you envied people that were married. Okay, but like the brain can do weird things when you have dementia and you're doing weird stuff. Um, was it All Stays? Is that Mohawk Trail? That's the one that has the cabins. $75 a night. That's a hotel, right? I don't know if it's just Thanksgiving weekend because the other ones I think are $55. But they can't be homeless people because it's only open on the weekends. Just really disgusted. Can you tell? It's not Normandy Farms. That's like crazy expensive. Here's another one that has different ones. These are like private campgrounds. We had a winter camp in the Northeast. Okay. But then it's going to be colder and colder because it's winter. Okay. Um, once you've read all the books and you got all the gear, so that's like a challenge and stuff that they're doing. It's just monstrously insane. Okay. Um, some of it they're probably doing it because it's stuff they can do that I can't do because they're horrifically mentally ill. Yes, like they don't know what to do with themselves and how to lift up their spirits. So they monitor live streams, they monitor the news, they monitor social media, and then they do what they think other people want to do, but they can't. Because then it's like a dominance. Everything says driving in it. This one in New Hampshire. Okay, this is outhouses within walking distance and water source. Okay, maybe I'll check this one. It's called AMC's Cardigan Lodge and Campground. It's in New Hampshire. Okay, let's see. Short 2 hour drive from Boston. Yeah, so that becomes how you actually get there. It's full service from April to November, self service from November to March, and from November to December. Okay. Meals and amenities. No one really needs that unless you talk about grocery stores. Right, we'll see how much this is. I'm sure they don't want the Virgin Mary there. Let's see, Buchanan. Alright, when would I arrive? Run for the hills now. Well, it depends if I'm trying to, yeah, because these all close in October. This is supposed to be for winter, so let's see. We'll do the same thing. We'll go like, how about November 17th? And then when would I depart? Ugh, I would have to depart probably the 28th because I've got to be in Boston on the 30th. All right. State, what does that mean? Where I'm coming from? Massachusetts. Or do I put, I'll just put all. Guardian Lodge, lodging type, campsites, adults too. Zero children, so I'm already one against the ball right there. Promo code, that would be nice. Too many selected nights. The maximum night stay allowed is 14. So again, you people are monstrously insane. Is this a private campground? Okay. You people are monstrously insane. You're monstrously insane, and I explained, and I don't know exactly what's going on at Wampatuck. Okay, but the second September 1st came, now you're saying nothing's available. You're not supposed to be doing the 2 week rule after Labor Day. So you're monstrously fucking insane. Absolutely. So your president is seeking the death penalty, and we're just waiting for you to keel over and die. You are on my fucking land. You are on my fucking land. Yes, you are on my fucking land, and you will not allow me to fucking live anywhere on my fucking land. So NATO is euthanizing you the fuck off of my land. You can't see a 2 5 star there? You're fucking lying. So, anyways, you get to live in your made up delusion as your brain melts and your lungs melt and you die. Okay? Whatever the fuck this 14-day thing is that you concocted in your fucking sick heads, okay, you're being euthanized by NATO. Do you know what NATO is? Do they have nuclear weapons? And then some of us will just walk over there right in fucking spite and do a jig on what you think is your fucking land when it's my fucking land. The bird, the entire North America was created for my species. So you're being fucking removed from it. Yes, the Appalachian Mountain Club, established 1876. Okay, well, I was established way before that. Hence the crook and flail, as you call it, and a fucking Uranus, which is a 2 5 star. So I was established long before 18 fucking 76. Half of them probably believe in cycling, but they still sit there going, "Oh my God, this fucking crazy person." Okay, there's no way to tell you from the fucking grave how crazy I'm not. All states, all destinations. I should put fucking Thanksgiving, shouldn't I? When they'll be fucking destroyed. How's that? Do it like that. Search that, motherfuckers. 214-day fucking limit. It's a 4-1, not a 1-4. I don't know where this fucking 14-day thing is coming from, but you just go. Your president is asking for the seeking the death penalty. Okay, so you've got something here for a week. What is that going to cost everyone on my fucking land? $34 a day. And live free or die. I would guess this is quite a fucking racket once you actually start thinking about it. Okay. So it's a campground and they're telling you it's self-service in the wintertime. Okay. It's a bathroom. Does it have hot water? Okay. It's a non-electric site. It's a tent only. It has a fire pit and a picnic table. Right. They're saying that now it's $68. For non-members, it's $80. Is that a night? That is a fucking racket right there. And it's not even your fucking property, it's mine. That belongs to the state. This is the Appalachian Mountain Club, whatever the fuck that is. Okay. But in terms of the state park, yeah, that belongs to the state. What about them, their Indian reservations? What's up with that? I can only imagine the level of sickness there right now. Yeah, I can only imagine the level of dying off. And then a whole bunch of more just people just go on the land and just fucking take it, just like they took people's houses. That is all that's going on. You just go. Cops don't evict people out of stuff anymore, and then people just go and attack you till you leave as we wait for them to drop dead. So now one of them's called the Appalachian Mountain Club, and you pay them money dollars. Right. Probably because this has been going on so long. I'm sure some people camped for a while, right? Because it's like I said, but one some point in time, and it was probably about 2010, they came up with this 14-day thing because they did not do that when I was camping as a kid. We camped all summer at Howell Parker State Forest, the same campsite, summer after summer after summer. So it's new. I'm not 300 years old. I'm 54. Okay, so in the 1970s and probably even the 1980s, that didn't go on. So at that point in time, you people went completely criminally insane. And now, when it's that isn't even going on, you're telling us a whole portion of your campground is closed. I saw the ones that were overgrown and aren't even campsites anymore. So you didn't do it because people were camping too much and other people couldn't camp. You closed a bunch of campsites there. Apparently, I'm not supposed to keep camping. It's just God shows me so I can see, and I explain it to others that either haven't been or they don't have the ability to come out here. Not everyone lives in Massachusetts to know what's going on. So now they know. I went right to the campsites, campgrounds. I've been to four of them this season because it's plugged in. I went to four of them this season. The one with the retired campsites was Wampatuck. So it has nothing to do with fairness. It has to do with being criminally fucking deranged. Just like people can't sleep on public property. We're the public too. We're the public too, and we have nowhere else to go. One of them did attack us with a hatchet. It's called a hammer. Not what would it take you actually coming and hitting us in the head with the fucking axe. You do it. Call yourself a homeless person. Fucking dude. Attacking another fucking homeless person. Just like most of them. Too much of a pussy to go after the man. Just attack other fucking victims of the Holocaust. Solves fucking nothing. Pussy ass. That was the funniest thing when Barbara Ken started telling her son he was a pussy ass. She likes war. Yeah. Hers was sort of in a different context, I think. But she was turning him into a dominant gorilla. That's what she thought she was doing, in my opinion. It's about time you blew up, right? She wanted him to take charge so she didn't have to do it anymore. I don't do that. I'm not a gorilla, I'm not a primate. And as you can see, even when I give you direct orders, you refuse to follow them because you're insane. Day one, the housing approve every stipend is a direct order, as is put me in housing, approve this, give me a campsite. Those are all direct orders that you ignore. I think the people with the nuclear weapons actually do take direct orders, which is smashing. Yes. You better keep nuking us. Okay. Just keep nuking us. That's all you got to do is just keep nuking us. Uh, you will know by the fact that I'm not looking up shit. I'm either gone, I'm passed on, you don't have to worry about me anymore, but the others, or I'm looking up shit and I don't see what I'm seeing today. I'm not getting whacked out emails. Three different places. Three different places. Okay. That Whittier Flats wouldn't stop contacting me and then said I didn't qualify. They're monstrously insane. These people from Fair, you saw what they did. You saw what the people at Father Bill's place did. They're out of their fucking minds. They're criminals. They're psychotically insane. So the one from the DTA office on the phone from 2023 that said she's not the government, that is a mentally insane criminal. They had to start it back up as you were told when they forced me out of that room in Quincy in 2020. Exactamundo. That is why all hell broke loose with COVID. It's any means necessary, just like Nancy Pelosi told you. Because we all know what that meant. The woman running the place is a Nazi, okay? And they conjured up some business and then kicked me out and tried to free themselves. Okay. So that's why it couldn't happen. You people, if you forgot already, you paid no rent and you couldn't be evicted. You couldn't have your utilities shut off. And you were getting COVID money, extra SNAP, and you got a free bus. And you refused to put me in housing. Okay. So all of that's over. It's the plan B now. It's just nothing but nukes as we wait for these people to drop off. All they had to do was leave me in that room on Lawrence Street, and none of this would have even happened. But God allowed that to happen because it showed everybody what was going on. That is why people flew into a panic and started hoarding food and stuff because that's what primates do. They went on a lockdown because they knew we were getting nuked. That is why they did it. So if you weren't doing that and you were wondering why they were doing that, okay, that's why they were doing it. They knew that we were all gonna effing die, as you call it, after they did that to me. Because they were supposed to just be allotting housing. That's why they were given all that money, not setting up Jewish ghettos and holding U.S. citizens hostage. And you've seen how bad it's gotten over there. I think it's classic too that the woman said sustenances. She's here. She's here for sustenances. It's not a walkabout, no, but like primate behaviors are so repetitive, right? It's not like, oh, we're all reliving history. Unfortunately, we are, but it's real. It's not. That's not fake. Those aren't actors. And then we go, oh, isn't that so funny? And the redcoats came, and then we learned something. So I'm glad that the woman that is doing the videos, the Christian videos, okay. So it seems that God has directed her to start talking about things that are like nuclear stuff, and we'll see how that goes. She probably has a handle on her followers, or God directs her as what to talk about. After 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be sent up to be crucified. The whole world is under the sway of the wicked one. Okay, so you might want to look up, is it hydrogen? See what number hydrogen is. Protect us from the evil one. Oops, something just fell. It sounds like they're asking God to not um, let them be tempted. Don't let them go down the road of the devil, like the sickness in the head and stuff like that. And I'm sure that God will answer those prayers if you're at that point of asking for that. I guess in some respect, this is kind of interesting in terms of like Christianity and philosophy. I guess in some respects, you do actually have more free will than my species does. It's complete submission to Allah. So, right, whereas you sort of have kind of choices, and you have to ask God to help you. You have to ask God to take over your life and not let you do bad things or go the wrong way and stuff like that. Whereas we just get thrown down and dwelled with the Holy Spirit and directed around. Is it 5:30 yet? Yep, it's just exactly 5:30. The park rangers just drove by, and for some reason that made me look at the time. I kind of sort of doubt that the people that work for the actual parks are responsible for any of the rules and regulations. Yeah, just just like anybody else. What are you gonna do? Right? They're just ordered to do this and ordered to do that. And, yeah. Well, it's 5:30, so it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours of daylight, and I'll be right back in bed again. It's like that was a whole day. No, believe me, it's actually nice when time goes by fast because even though I scolded Brian about this, just when you're street homeless like that, just sitting in a library like that, like And then when the winter comes, it's going to be even worse. If it's a heat wave or the winter comes, it's going. That's why when it was hot like that, I still was outside, even though sometimes I'd get a headache and stuff. Because in the winter, you're just stuck indoors all the time, and then it's just you live in a constant state of fear and anxiety about every single night and where you're going to go and how you're going to sleep and how you're going to stay warm and if people are going to yell at you. And then just every day, you're just like, dum, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Right now, we're just waiting for the nuclear weapons to work. So, yep. I mentioned that the second that they actually give me housing, right, that God would make them begin a process of caring about the fuel and stuff. I think that honestly, they're going to become so disabled they can't drive anymore. That's what I believe. But God has a way of doing it so they'll all end up caring for each other and stuff as they die. Yeah, there comes a certain time in your life where you're too sick to actually keep traveling around. It's a completely amoral species where they're just like, oh, this is fantastic, and we're gonna have retirement, and then, oh, wasn't it nice doing this, and then we're gonna transition into something else, and like they literally do not care about murdering other people. They don't. They could be doing that anyway. They could be doing that anyway. Probably wouldn't be as fun for them if they didn't look at other people and say that we're all miserable and can't do things. I explained it. That's the only way they find anything to do is by copying other people, hearing about things we wish we could do, and then they do it. If everybody was doing it, it wouldn't matter anymore. That's why your cost of living goes up and up and up and up. That's why it went from a house to a house and a pop up tent, and then it went from a house and a pop up tent to a house and a pop up tent and a trailer. And then they're going to get two kayaks. I'm not kidding you. I'm watching it right in front of my face. It's like Royal Caribbean. Now they're at Star of the Sea and Icon, and they all got to get on that. And then they'll build another thing that's twice as big, and then they all got to get on that. And it just goes and goes and goes and goes. They wouldn't be happy on an older ship because somebody else is on this other thing. I was upset I couldn't take Voyager on the 25-day. I'm upset that they're using quantum and allure for that crap. There's nothing quaint about it at all. It's all just like a monstrosity, like you're on the Las Vegas Strip. Right, why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing in January? Use your noggin. And for my 23-day trip, which is a regular carnival ship, you don't have all that crap on that. Right, you get a dining room with the tables and the chandelier and the spindles, and then we just like sit around and sit on a pool deck and stuff. Awesome. I think they have Family Feud. That sounds fun. this might be the last summer that these regular people go camping, once they realize we went camping. I can't make this shit up. No, because when I make up stuff, it's actually fun and funny, not horrifying and sad. Like how many people have been to the Grand Canyon because I said I wanted to go there. I watched that chick, Jordan Woods, go to the South Pacific and the Kardashians after I was online talking about it. That is how sick people are. About her drinks. That poor man. Could you imagine someone like that being married to her? That's right. Was it Jesse Waters? That's what I wanted to watch, and I fell asleep last night. Yeah, I gotta wake him up, see if he wants me to cook again. Yeah, when I go to bed tonight, he did a whole thing about Amityville. That's what I'll watch. The Mid Eye. Yeah, it's a family name. Yep, the Mid Eye. It means midday. She's the one who told me. We all thought it was MIDI, and she said she doesn't know any of the stuff I'm saying, right? And she goes, it actually means mid eye. She goes, it's actually mid eye because it's German or something. But they when they came over here, then it's MIDI and it means midday. And I was just like, oh my fucking god. The 10, it's one of my family names, yeah, from my biological mother. Her biological mother. Yep. People are like really out of it. The man has a tattoo on his arm, FOE. And I went, who's your foe? I can't imagine someone like that being married to her, how tormenting that is. So that explains some of the weirdness about that house. I like studied it in depth and then did a whole wit on it. I don't believe for a second he was abusing his children, though. I thought that maybe she was abused by her father. And just so if you didn't know this, she was pregnant when they got married. They got married extremely young. They met in high school, and her father was extremely overbearing. And he actually purchased that house. And the father worked for him at his car lot. He sold cars. That was his job. So he was never getting away from her. You get it? And sometimes when people are abusing their daughter and they get pregnant, they get them married off real quick. They blame it on the boyfriend. So I was questioning if the oldest son was even his because the other children, the daughter doesn't really look like him as much per se, but the younger three children look like him. They don't look like her. And whoever was living there was doing a wicked lot of decorating, covering up windows and stuff, which is indicative of someone with extreme paranoia. I lived with the person doing that, not sewing and stuff, but putting stickers all over windows, window coverings, things in front of the window, just like I saw in the pictures. That's extreme over decorating. Like she seemed like she was in a constant state of mania, is what I would say, the wife. And then I explained some of the issues with the house where it sounds like there was a lot of pollution there and the river smelled, so they couldn't even open their windows. and they had cluster flies that do come out from the wall just like that. Not it's a mystery. Not that Satan's dwelling, and that the son was mentally ill and high on drugs, and probably abused by the grandfather. And he just flipped out when he was high on drugs, and everything he told you from a prison cell was nothing but bullcrap. All those stories, all the other people talking about it, the books, the movies, it's all nonsense. Yeah, I better shut this off now. I've enjoyed just sitting here for hours. It's kind of like when I sat in front of the fire. Yeah, I don't feel really like depressed or tired or anything. I'm just sort of like enjoying just sitting here. This to me is relative silence where I talk to myself. I don't know. I don't know if I ever just sort of like sit somewhere in silence. I don't know if I do that. This would be relative silence for me.